Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I am the CHALL, and today Chall Chats Shrewsbury Town. In the last 24 to 48 hours, they made a big decision. They decided to announce the departure of manager Matt Taylor after just one win in 8 in all competitions. Um, Big decision to make. However, from the reaction of the Shrewsbury fan base, it was a decision that needed to be done. And there's definitely a feeling that it's now a case of what they do now. So in this particular video, I'm going to share with you the club's official statement. We're also going to share my thoughts on it, looking back at the run of results, looking at the fan base reaction to the performances, look at a couple of options as to who they may go for, as well as a bonus option if they need someone to keep the club up and just play it a bit safer. But for now, guys, make sure you do like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell. See you never miss YouTube video. Of course, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching this. We are on the road to 3K and 500K in followers, in total views, and 3K in subscribers. So let's get there as soon as possible. Loads of content still to come. Later today, we've got Brighton versus Wolves review, so stay tuned for that one. Go and check out the Talker United video that we did this sort of midday. We've also got content yesterday from the Reading podcast, the episode of the Chall Chats podcast focusing on Reading Football Club, interviewing Sell Before We Die. We've also got other news updates in the past few days from Exeter, Northampton, Forest Green. We've got a podcast from Swindon, so go and check out that with the Falls Rush In guys. And for now, guys, let's get straight into this one and let's talk about Shrewsbury Town and the departure of manager Matt Taylor. So first of all, Bristol Rovers fans, there is no Matt Taylor derby this season, just to kind of point that out there as extra context. But here is the club's official statement. We'll go through this from the website. It's with regret that Shrewsbury Town have decided to part company with head coach Matt Taylor. Matt arrived at the Crowd Meadow in June and has always conducted himself with professionalism and integrity. But following a run of that has seen us lose 7 of our last 8 games, the club feels a change is needed to improve results and performances on the pitch. Alongside Matt, assistant head coach Marcus Bignot has also left the club. So, first of all, before we talk about the 2 names that I've got as suggestions, as well as a third one that's a bit more safer in terms of keeping the club up, I wanted to first of all share my thoughts on Matt Taylor's departure. I'm kind of under the impression of many of the Shrewsbury fans, lovely guy, just didn't work out. I think when it was announced back in June, I had my doubts about the appointment. I think there were some doubts around the appointment. However, he did have a style of football that obviously needed backing as much as possible. Of course, they got the director of football, Mickey Moore, of course, ex-Cheltenham. And for me, I think it needed some serious investment. And actually, to be fair, when we look back at the investment brought in the summer, which we'll look at now, while we've got a chance. I mean, obviously, the January window's only got a week or so left and the manager's gone. So for Shrewsbury, I think, first of all, it feels very much a reset. It feels very much like a write-off and a reset in the summer, whatever happens for the rest of the January window. But if we think back to the summer window, we think back to who they brought in. You've got Winchester from Sunderland. You've got Morgan Feeney from Carlisle, which, in my opinion, was a good signing. Jason Shrahar from Barnsley. Taylor Perry from Wolves. You've got Max Mata, who's one of the best prospects in the Irish Premier League. Got lots of potential. Mal Benning from Port Vale was a big one. Obviously, Aaron Pierre on a free back in October. And then you go to January where they've only brought in one permanent signing, and that's Roland Edawu from Waterford on an undisclosed fee, so one of the up-and-coming talents. In terms of loans, obviously the loaned in Elliot Thorpe, Noah Kenner, Joe Anderson, Kieran Phillips, Ryan Finnegan, and Brandon Fleming. So obviously, again, this is it's an interesting one, this one. Not a lot of incomings for January for Shrewsbury. And obviously the summer recruitment obviously hasn't ended up paying off. There is some good players in there. Obviously we reviewed the game from Wrexham. at Shrewsbury in the FA Cup. And I spoke about Mal Benning, for example, who's a very good talent. And there are some good players in there. It just, consistency wise and results wise, it just hasn't worked out for them. So I am sad for Matt. He's a great guy. Spoke to him. I think I spoke to him when he was managing one of his previous spells and at a different club. And great guy to speak to. And I wish him all the best. And of course, Marcus Bignot as well. From a Shrewsbury point of view, it's very much been a write-off season. I think that the goal for Shrewsbury now is just to stay in League One and just reset in the summer again, and hopefully under a better appointment on paper and in results wise. Speaking of that appointment, I thought I'd gather a couple of names together as well as a bonus option and just share with you guys my thoughts on that. So I've got two particular managers in mind as to who I think should be taking over. But there is that bonus option as well, just to give some extra context to the situation. So first of all, the first name on the list, a previous Shrewsbury manager. I think it's on the lips of the many Shrewsbury fans at the minute in terms of one of the favourites to get the job, and that is Paul Hurst, ex-Grimsby manager, ex-Rotherham legend player. Obviously, previous Shrewsbury manager, kept them in League One years ago. Obviously, he'll bring his assistant, Chris Doig, with him from Grimsby, more than likely, in my opinion, but we never know. I think Paul Hurst, I mean, he's got a style of football. The main thing with me with Paul Hurst is the director of football. Will he work with the director of football? And that seems to be that seems to be the major question on the mind of Shrewsbury fans. Will he work with the director of football? If not, will the director of football leave? Will Mickey Moore go? And it's one of them questions that's going to keep going on and on and on until we get the appointment. I mean, Shrewsbury could do one or two things here. Bring in the new manager now, right off the season, just try the best you can to stay up and then just go again in the summer. Or they bring in a temporary manager to the end of the season, but they have their permanent ready to announce in the summer during the off-season. So for me, I think Paul Hurst would be one of those potential choices. Like I said, he's got previous experience with Shrewsbury. When it works, it works. Look at what he did with the FA Cup run with Grimsby. I think there's a real chance here with Paul Hurst for it to work again. And, he did keep the club up before, so he's got experience of doing it as well. So it is an appointment that doesn't attach all the risks in the world, but I think that he has the experience of the club to be able to do that. Now, there is another person that I said is an option to keep the club up, but again, I'll save that for the end. My second option, and it's someone who has got experience of keeping clubs in this league. He's got experience of building a real project as well. And for me, I think it just fits this person to a T, this particular job. And that is the former Cambridge United manager, Mark Bonner. I think that he's perfect for this job. I think that he could work with potentially with the director of football under that model and that kind of structure at the football club. I think that Mark Bonner would bring a lot of experience to the role as well, like Paul Hurst, a lot of experience. And this is the main thing here with Shrewsbury. I wanted to pick two choices plus a bonus option that had experience. I did not want to take the risk of a head coach. For me, the next appointment, in my personal opinion for Shrewsbury, needs to be a manager. It doesn't need to be a head coach on this one. It needs to be a manager. And I think Paul Hurst fits the bill, and I think that Mark Bonner fits the bill. A lot of experience under Mark Bonner, building that Cambridge side, keeping him in the league. It just got to a point where his services were no longer required, and Cambridge need to move on and take that next step. And Mark Bonner, for me, obviously they're going with Neil Harris now, Cambridge, but with me, Mark Bonner has an opportunity to really, get a chance to get back into football and build himself up again. And I think that Shrewsbury, I think is the best job to do it, in my opinion, that's out there at the moment. Now, I did mention a bonus option, and it's someone who isn't really known for the best type of football. However, I don't think that's what Shrewsbury fans need to be worrying about right now. I just think they need a plan, they need a tactic, and it needs to be something that might not be the easiest on the eye, but it's something that keeps them in the league and it gives them results, because at the end of the day, it's a results-based game. It's not about who plays the prettiest football. It's about what gets you results. And right now, you need a results-based manager and someone who's got results, playing not the best football in the world, but has got results and has got experience of multiple different football clubs, and knows what it takes to bring in a certain profile of player for his style of football. And someone who's been linked to the Forest Green job is Gary Bowyer. Now, this is my bonus option. Gary Bowyer is my bonus option. And the reason why I've gone with him is because, like I said, not the best football in the world, but what he does is he's got experience. He's got a lot of experience. And for me, he can use. I mean, for me, I don't think Shrewsbury will make this appointment until after the January window, personally. But which I think could be a big, for me, it could be a big mistake. I think that could be a massive mistake not appointing him before the end of the window. Because I think if you bring him in the next 24, 48 hours, you've got the rest of this window to go, right, bring in a couple, let a couple go who I don't think I can work with, and then let's just see how we go for the rest of the season, and then properly rebuild in the summer. So for me, Gary Bowyer would need the window, as would Bonner, as would Hurst, as would anyone who comes into Shrewsbury Town right now. So for me, Shrewsbury have to make this appointment before the end of the window, and they have to make this appointment with still enough time in the window to make some adjustments to the squad. They may not make any adjustments to the squad. They may just look at the squad and go, right, that's the squad I'm working with for the rest of the season. Might bring in an odd loan or so, but that's the squad I'm working with, and that's it. I do think Shrewsbury will make some kind of movement for the rest of the window. I don't know where, don't know how, in or out. I just know that Shrewsbury will probably, in my opinion, make some kind of movements before deadline day is over on the 31st. And we need a new manager to do that. You can't just do it on a caretaker basis. So, unless the manager tells the caretaker manager before he's appointed and gets in contact with him to say what he needs, and he deals with it before he makes the official appointment. So, it's one of them situations. But Gary Bowyer for me is a bonus option because of his experience and the way he manages sometimes as well. And I think that you need someone like that. You need someone who's quite safe. And Gary Bowyer for me is a safe-ish option. Um, and that's being honest. That's been me being brutally honest with his experience in the past. Obviously, he's been linked to the Forest Green job. We know that Michael Flynn's been linked to the Forest Green job. I don't think Michael Flynn's the right type of appointment for Shrewsbury. I think that Gary Bowyer's a more right appointment at this time. So is Paul Hurst, so is Mark Bonner. So any of those three would be good appointments for me in terms of the experience they bring and what they could build in the summer and going forward as well for Shrewsbury. If I had to put money on it, I mean, I don't really like betting, but if you want me to put money on it, I would say Paul Hurst is the favourite right now. Just from what's been seen. However, for me, I would have put, if I was Shrewsbury Town, if I was the director of football, if I was the chairman, the owner of Shrewsbury, I'd be going, right, out of those three, Mark Bonner. 100% Mark Bonner. Nothing against Paul Hurst, nothing against Gary Bowyer, but Mark Bonner for me would be the appointment because I think it's the right fit for him and I think it's the perfect opportunity for him to get back into football. But for now, guys, thank you very, very much for watching this video. Shrewsbury fans, leave your comments down below. Who do you think will be appointed next? And for now, guys, I am the CHALL. Ta-ra for now.